In this video I will talk about the abilities of herbivore and carnivore cards. One of the most common abilities in small and medium herbivores is to draw carnivore cards, but this usually has a cost associated. So the most common ability is, as in this example, to pay one card. This is to discard one card from your hand that can be either a land, a herbivore, or a carnivore, and then you can draw a carnivore card. This means that drawing carnivore cards has a cost. There are some variations to this ability, like in Stringosaurus, where instead of paying one card, you can pay a resource, in this case a forest resource, which is generated by exhausting a forest card in your land row. But any variation to that pay one to draw a carnivore card will be unique, so there is no other card other than Stringosaurus that has this ability of specifically paying a forest. Additionally, there are a few cards that let you draw carnivore cards at no cost, but those are very few in the game and they all have a very high cost to play. In this case, playing Brachiosaurus costs discarding 3 cards from your hand, as well as exhausting a forest card and 2 prairie cards in your ecosystem. So again, this is a very high cost, and as I said, there are very few cards in the game that will let you draw carnivore cards at no cost. Another common ability in herbivores in particular is to just go extinct. Although this at first it might not seem like a very useful ability, it frees up spaces in your ecosystem so you can play additional cards. So once you don't want that card in particular to be in your ecosystem anymore, you can just make it go extinct at no cost. Usually making a card go extinct will cost you 2 cards using the special ability, which is not discussed in this video. So being able to do this for free is actually not a bad thing. Furthermore, there is a race goal that gives 2 points to the first player that uses a herbivore card for an extinction ability. So if you use this card first before any other player, you will get a 2 victory point token, which is worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. In any case, many other cards have the ability to go extinct, but they also give you a benefit when you do so. For example, Longisquama, when you activate its ability, it will go extinct into your extinction pile, but by doing that you will also get to draw 2 carnivore cards. So this is a card that has very low point value at the end of the game, only 1, but when activated it will give you 2 carnivore cards. But other cards will also give you special effects by making them go extinct. For example, Jinxanosaurus can be activated to go extinct into your extinction pile, but that will let you refresh one of your exhausted cards in play. So if you want to use a carnivore card in the same round twice, it is possible to do by using a card like this one. Many herbivore cards also allow you to gain victory point tokens. For example, Tanistropheus allows you to, once per turn, if you use a card for an extinction ability, as we were just discussing, then you will gain 1 victory point token of value 1. So that's yet another reason why you might want to make some of your cards go extinct, or using their extinction abilities, because in this case you will obtain a victory point token. Pachycephalosaurus has the ability of paying 1 card to then make a small carnivore go extinct in order to gain a victory point token. So in this case, you need to have at least 1 small carnivore card in play, and you also will want to dispose of it, and if you do, then this will give you 1 victory point token. So that can be also a useful ability in certain situations. Other cards will also give you victory point tokens by playing specific types of cards. In this case, Argentinosaurus will give you 1 victory point token of value 1 every time you play an herbivore card that has a cost that includes at least 1 forest symbol in it. So you can see that there are different ways in which you can get victory point tokens using herbivore cards. Other abilities of herbivore cards will give you discounts. For example, this one gives you 1 card discount for cards that have forest symbols in their cost. Other cards will give you benefits at the end of a period, like in this case Vintana gives you 1 herbivore card and 1 victory point token at the end of each period if it is in play. Or they might have other abilities, like in this example, this card lets you make land cards go extinct at no cost. So remember, usually it will cost you 2 cards to make a land card go extinct. This can be useful in a game where you are trying to play a lot of land cards. For example, if you have a goal that gives you victory points for playing land cards. So not in every game this will be very useful, but in some will actually be a good card to play. So let's now talk about carnivore cards. You probably are familiar with the most common ability of carnivore cards, which is paying cards from your hand to gain victory point tokens. In small carnivores, the most common ability is paying 2 cards to gain 1 victory point token. Some other cards might have different ratios of cards to victory point token. So Aristrodocus will get a victory point token of value 2 at a cost of 3, so it's a better ratio than Dilophosaurus. But other cards will also let you get victory point tokens by paying, for example, symbols. In this case, Metaposaurus is an amphibian, and you can get a victory point token by exhausting water and wetland cards in your ecosystem. So those are different ways in which you can get victory point tokens. And those are only a few examples. Other carnivore cards will get you victory point tokens of different values depending on the conditions in which they are played. For example, Phasolosuchus will get you a 1, 2, or 3 victory point token depending on if you have a 1, 2, or 3 carnivore cards in play in your ecosystem. So you will usually try to maximize the points you get from this type of cards when you play them. So trying to complete the conditions or the most favorable conditions to get the highest victory point token possible. Other cards like Saurosuchus allow you to make a card go extinct directly from your hand. This means that without having to pay for the cost of the card, you can take it and put it directly into your extinction pile, and it will count towards your final score at the end of the game. So with Saurosuchus in particular, will let you get one of those large herbivore cards, which usually have very high cost and they are difficult to put into play, and they will count towards your final score. This is particularly useful if your goal for that game is trying to play as many large herbivores as possible. A few cards will also have a push your luck element, like Spinosaurus. So Spinosaurus has the ability of looking at the top carnivore card of the deck, and if it has an activating ability, then you can take that action at no cost. So a card that gives you, for example, 2 victory point tokens by paying 3 cards, you will get that for free. But if it is a card that has a when played or at the end of the game abilities, then you won't obtain any benefit. The abilities of many of the cards in the game will work particularly well together with other cards that you may play. So just using a few examples of cards that I have showed you in this video, Tanistropheus, for example, will work well with Rheogasaurus because Rheogasaurus can make land cards go extinct every round. That means that you may be able to use the ability of Tanistropheus every round too. You just have to replace those land cards at the end of the round if you want to keep this going. Another example is those 2 cards that they both have the forest symbol. One gives you a discount and the other one will give you a victory point token every time a card with a forest symbol is played. So by playing them together, you will be able to play additional cards with forest symbols at a discount and getting a victory point token every time. And this will work even better if your goal for the game is one that gives you victory points at the end of the game for cards that have forest or prairie symbols in them. So even the goals will combine or combo with some of the abilities of specific cards. And have in mind that this is just a brief overview of the abilities of some of the cards of the game. By no means it's comprehensive, and there are many other unique cards with unique abilities. So hopefully this overview has given you an idea of how the game works and how the different cards synergize together, or they are played in different situations. Also, the fact that there are so many different cards and different abilities makes every game really feel different and unique. So it has a very high replayability.